Good morning, Jackednnerdy fans. Jeremy here with my non-spoiler review for Bert Kreischer's The Machine. Before I jump into that review though, if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. That way you guys never miss out on a video. And if you do enjoy our content, please make sure you give these videos a thumbs up. That lets us know that you enjoy the content that we're putting out there, and it encourages us to keep going. So, with that out of the way, Bert Kreischer's The Machine. If you're not already a fan of Bert Kreischer, I highly encourage you to look up his stand-up comedy on YouTube, especially the story around how The Machine came to be. Just the cliff notes, if you're not aware, it is a story about when he was in college. He went on a field trip or a excursion to Russia and somehow got tied up with the Russian mob. So this movie is a continuation of that story. Obviously, as is very popular in Hollywood these days, they're telling the story 30 years later, when Bert is much older and his past comes back to haunt him. No joke though, hands down, this is just an absolute cracker of a comedy. This very much reminds me of the comedies of old, where you had things like The Hangover, Road Trip, American Pie. It's just a good, fun, no-brainer comedy. You can just sit back, relax, and just enjoy the ride. So hands down, if you're just looking for a good, plain comedy, just that you can just sit back and relax and have a good laugh to, The Machine is definitely well worth the watch. It's got a fantastic cast. Obviously, we've got Bert Kreischer playing himself, Jimmy Tatro, who I'm not really familiar with his work prior to this, but he plays the young Bert Kreischer in the flashbacks. We've got Stefanie Kurtzuba. I'm probably butchering her name. Mark Hamill is in this. Luke Skywalker himself. Jess, Gabor, Mercedes de la Cruz, and Martyn, just to name a few. So, look, it's got a stellar cast. The script writing and the story is absolutely fantastic. The comedy is on point. If you're a fan of Bert Kreischer, Tom Segura, all those those comedians and their style, you're gonna have a great time. Luckily enough, funnily enough, the cinema that I was in was there were only maybe 2 or 3 other couples in it. So it's a very, very quiet, very empty kind of screening. But that being said, I could hear the other couples laughing regularly throughout the film, which is always a good sign, obviously. But you know what? Like in an age of wokeism and political correctness and what have you, it's good to see this type of film, getting made and getting pushed out there. Because it really just reminds us of the fact that, look, we need to not take life too seriously. We need to have a good laugh from time to time. And this film definitely delivers on all of those fronts. This is definitely a film that I will go back and watch several times. It's probably not going to be my main comedy staple. I think that is well reserved for a couple of other films like Grown Ups and what have you. But that being said, this is definitely a film that I will go back to quite regularly to watch, just for the fun aspect. So definitely well worth the watch there. It was directed by Peter Atencio, who I'm not overly familiar with, to be honest. But you know what? Regardless, they did a fantastic job. It's got an IMDB score of 7.2 out of 10, but it doesn't look like there is currently a Rotten Tomatoes score. So 7.2 out of 10 on IMDb. I will co-sign that rating. I think it's definitely, I'll even bump it up to like a 7.5. It's definitely, one of the most, I suppose you could almost call it a light-hearted kind of comedy. Now, it's definitely not one that you take the kids to, obviously. It does have a rating of MA 15 plus here in Australia. So I'm not quite sure what that is in America. Maybe R, I don't know. But it's definitely not one to take the kids to. There is a lot of cursing, a lot of sexual references, drugs, alcohol, violence, all of that. So it's definitely not one for the little kids, but definitely for the adults who just want to sit back, have a laugh, and have a bit of fun. Definitely well worth the watch. So really, there's not much more I can say about this film, except for get out there yourself, check it out. Hit me up in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think or thought of this movie. Look, yeah, all in all, scripting, casting, costuming, even the visuals, just the scenics, the cinematography, all of it. I absolutely loved this film. It was most enjoyable. Lots of awesome 90s references as well. So definitely well worth the watch. Hit me up in the comment section below. Let me know what your thoughts are of Bert Kreischer's The Machine. And until next time, guys, stay jacked and stay nerdy.